Hi, you're watching my channel, Clodbuster. So I got a little bit more work done on the A-scale Clodbuster. Actually, not a little, a lot. I got pretty much the chassis almost complete. I just have to add a little bit more bracing. I'll show you. So like, I had to go from here to here, front from there to there, and here to here. And there's also some X bracing that goes in the shock towers and also in the front of the chassis. And then there's some X bracing that goes in the back and some cross members that go here. And the reason I haven't added those in yet is because I still have to put electronics in this thing. And I don't want to put the bracing in and then have it be in the way. So I figured at this point, I'll just add the electronics, get all that. And then once the electronics are in, I'll add the rest of the chassis bracing. I also have to add the upper four-link pockets back here. So you got the lower ones in. They're not finished welding, and that doesn't really look too clean right there because I ended up having to cut this bracket off for one reason or another. Anyway, so I did a video on this before, and this is the second video on this truck. I just wanted to give everybody an update. So what this is an exact copy of my full-size monster truck chassis. And my full-size monster truck chassis is it's a brand new chassis. I picked it up last summer. So, and it's from a reputable high-end builder. So what this is an exact A-scale replica of a full-size monster truck chassis. And I spent hours upon hours upon hours measuring and checking every angle of every tube of where it went. So this thing is exact. And then I made a jig table and a fixture and a bunch of stuff. So all the ones I make after this are going to be exactly the same. So for the motor and transmission, that's out of the Low C Super Rockray. I've had awesome luck. It's a real durable metal gear transmission. Never had any problems. The only problem I ever had was dirt getting inside, but what I did was I just sealed this up with some RTV. As far as axles go, so what I did, I figured out a really easy way to make the Super Rockray axle or Super Baja Ray a steer axle. All I had to do was pop the outers off, and then I could make my own little plates, and that would allow me to put steering axles on it. Problem is, this is way too wide. Let me show you. If you look at this axle under here. So this axle is way too wide. The axle housing stops about here, but by the time you add the spindles and the champagnes, that's going to put the tire out to about here. And really, the axle should stop about right here. And then by the time you add the champagne and the knuckle, it's going to, put it out about right here. So it looks like I'll be making my own axle housings. So now when I did my 5th scale Clodbuster, I made the axle housings and I just used like a differential from a Low C DBXLE, and it just dropped right in. But this time what I'm going to do is use a gear set, but I'm going to machine a center section to drop into a housing just like a full-size monster truck. So I still got to figure out what I'm going to use for gears. So for drive shafts, these are the Low C Super Rockray, and they're real durable. They're plastic, but I've yet to ever break one. And since I have a bunch of those trucks, because I buy parts trucks whenever I can, I have another drive shaft, but the pin's stripped out. And I drilled it out, but so I can't get the rest of it out, so it looks like I'm going to have to buy another one. That's one thing I hate about Low C. As awesome as Low C is, anybody who owns one will know that their hardware sucks. Sorry Low C, if you're watching this, I apologize, but you need to upgrade your hardware big time. And as far as hardware goes, so for this truck I want to use as little hardware as possible. So if you take a look, that motor and transmission is only held in by 3 screws. There's one right there, and then 2 right there. And if you look closely, I slotted the mounting bracket. That way if you want to buy like an aluminum transmission housing, you can. You just got to buy it for a Low C Super Rockray or Super Baja Ray. And if there's any differences in manufacturer tolerances, it'll bolt right up. And then I welded this bracket right here, and it centers the out drives perfectly in the chassis. And another reason I slotted this bracket, I'll show you in a second, is weight distribution. So when I designed this bracket, I didn't just like cut it out till it fit about right. I designed it in SolidWorks because I do a lot of that, like SolidWorks, CAD/CAM, Bentech, and all that stuff. So even though I still have a bit more bracing to do back here and everything, I had to finish the back of the cage. Also from here to here, a couple up top. And like I said earlier, I just want to get the electronics in first because I don't want anything to interfere. It's really well balanced. Look at this. As far as weight goes, it's pretty heavy, but it's not too heavy. It almost feels the same, if not lighter, than the Super Baja Ray. Especially because I built a track outside of my shop. And because the track has elevation, when it rains, it's pretty muddy. And when that Super Baja Ray got packed with mud, it was way heavier than this thing. And it never gave me a problem. So I think it should be alright. So this is the ESC I'll be running, and all the motor and the electronics all came out of the Super Rock Ray. And what's cool about that, I can run on 8S, and coincidentally, so this is exact A scale of my full-size chassis for my monster truck. The two 4-cell batteries fit perfectly in the back like a glove. Definitely adds a bit more weight to the back. But regardless, they fit in there perfectly, so that's awesome. That's just an awesome coincidence. So as far as shocks, I'll be using an 8S crate and 5th scale shocks. These are the back, these are the front. There's like a 10mm difference. They're a little shorter than I'd like, but they're also a way bigger diameter. So honestly, I think I'm going to make my own shocks. But they're going to sit like this at a 10-degree angle. I don't know, to me, shocks tend to lose effectiveness at anything more than 10 degrees, so that's I'm going to run them at that. And as far as body goes, at first I was thinking because I took a full-size monster truck and I scaled to A scale, it'd be easy, I'd just buy an A scale body. Wrong. Let me show you why. So right here is the Kyosho Mad Force. And you can see that a true A scale is way bigger. This thing's pretty heavy. Well, there is a battery in it. Oh, never store your batteries in the truck. I only did that for video purposes, so I could tell you to never do that. And as far as tires go, I can't run the 10 scale clodbuster as much as I'd love to, because that's a 10 scale clodbuster. And look how small it looks, because by the time this truck's at ride height, it's going to be like about here. It's going to look like a little bicycle tire. So figuring out the correct tire size is no problem because Clodbusted is also a mathematician. So Monster Truck uses a 66-inch tall tire. And because this is A scale, we're going to divide it by 8. So that comes up to 8.25. Now to convert that to millimeters, we're going to multiply that by 25.4. So 209.55 millimeters. So I got to look for a tire that's either 8 1/4 inches tall or close to it, or about 210 millimeters or close to it, to replicate a monster truck in A scale as best as I can. So then getting back to the body. So an A scale body is way too small. So I was thinking about an X-Max body. So when I made my 5th scale Clodbuster, I took an X-Max body and I turned it into a Clodbuster body. Anyway, the body as far as wheelbase goes is perfect, but I don't know, it just looks funny. It looks weird. I don't like it. So I went online and I looked up the Arma Mojave, if I'm saying that right. So I ordered a clear Arma Mojave body, and that should be here in a few days. So I'll see how that fits. If not, I might have to just cut something up and add pieces, just like you would with a real monster truck body. So either way, once I get a good body set up, I'll paint it. I don't know if I'm going to use the factory Clodbuster decals or if I'll come up with something different. I don't know. Maybe I'll throw my good buddy Shen RC sticker on there. So once I get a bit more work done on this thing, I'll have another video coming up soon. But until then, take care. Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe.